Oh, hi. I love your picture. I love that.
My background?
That and the one that you have on your Zoom. I like that
Oh,
too.
my picture
Yeah, the one of you.
of me. Thank you. Yeah, that's my hair, but you rarely
Oh,
see it.
oh my gosh. I totally understand. Girl, we can talk about her stuff all day long.
Girl,
So excited. I am so excited about this. Um,
really? Oh gosh, I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited too. I'm
this is just girlfriends chatting. This is just
okay.
girlfriends chatting. That's all this is. And I am so excited because when we first met, which was just a few weeks ago,
I know.
such a great conversation, and I didn't want it to end. So looking forward to this and wanted to go ahead and get started on this because we have lots to talk about, lots of things
Yes.
going on, lots of things are
Yes.
goals are in the air and all the things,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
So first, let's introduce ourselves. So I'll, give you the chance to completely introduce yourself. I won't, throw out things, and then we'll get
Okay.
to how we met and all those good things.
Okay. Well, my name is Antonia McCullough, and I am currently the CEO and founder of Brown Girl Agility. I also own Pixely Inc., which is a whole different corporation. But I am really focusing in on Brown Girl Agility
Okay.
these days. And so Brown Girl Agility is a space. I'm an agile coach, I should say that from the start. So I'm an agile coach, and I've been an agile coach for about 15 years now. And I've worked in I've worked at great companies, and everywhere from like McKinsey to Viacom to the New York Times. So I've been at great spaces, but I've always realized that there was a void in what was being taught at these corporations,
Okay.
to people that look like me.
Okay.
So I once I like started to, I think it was like in my like maybe the last 2 or 3 years, and I started to realize I really am in a space now where, as a coach, I really could teach
Mhm.
others
Okay.
much more effectively than I can like be in a space with a team and trying to like manage a team. I
Okay.
felt more like I'm I felt more enterprise, I guess, if that makes
Okay.
sense, that I
Yeah.
wanted to go beyond the spaces, the teams that I was at, and teach to people who look more like me.
Okay.
I there is, I think in the last 2 or 3 years, especially now on Instagram, I'm starting to see a lot of women PMs, project managers, or
Okay.
women in Agile. But when I first started, it was few and far between of me.
Okay. Okay.
And the other thing that I realized too is that a lot of Black women have great ideas,
Mhm.
great things that they want to do, great
Yeah.
stuff that they want to accomplish, but they
Yeah.
don't really know how to get from A to B.
Right.
They don't really know how to get to from their dream to
Right.
something that was actualized.
Right.
And so as a coach, as a coach that works with organizations to actually push out projects like digital projects
Yeah.
for my career span, I
Yeah.
wanted to give back to my people. And so
Okay.
that's when I established Brown Girl Agility. So the
Awesome.
Brown Girl Agility is really me.
Okay.
And I know a lot of people always go, really? I thought you were like focusing, zeroing in on brown girls. I am.
Yeah.
I am. But I'm a brown girl
Yeah.
who sits in an agile space. And
Okay.
so that's where you get brown girl agility from.
And so, can you kind of give me a little bit more on exactly what um, uh, agility is? I mean,
Agile.
what is it?
Yeah.
Agile.
Yeah.
And then, I can kind of gain from the name that you just poured it in together.
Hmm.
But give us a little bit more definition on exactly what that is. Now, from a corporation, I guess, standpoint, and I guess
Hmm.
then your focus would be in the individual.
Yes. Okay. So agile in the corporate world, ah, I think it's about 21 to 22 years old at this point. It's a methodology. So it's a methodology that several people I'm trying to make this high level. Several people from like software development, they came together and they said, how could we manage projects so that we can get from like thought process to done, right? And there was a lot of like, if like the traditional space of a project manager, we call it waterfall, where you
Yeah.
do things in a siloed manner.
Uh-huh.
And Agile kind of cuts that and says you can do all these things at once in a cyclical cycle, right? And so Agile became this, it kind of exploded in the last like 10 to 15 years, where a lot of people are moving into like become more of an agile workplace,
Yeah.
where they're using this like doing things where you are constantly inspecting and adapting. You're looking more at like team management versus a list of requirements, a list of documents, a list of to-dos.
Okay.
Everyone is working in a co-located space versus you have designers in one area,
Okay.
developers in another, you know, like QA,
Okay.
which is quality assurance, in another space.
Yeah.
They came up with this methodology that worked, where you're thinking more of constantly continually improving yourself
Mhm.
versus doing the same thing wrong over
Okay.
and over and
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
again. And I think that's not, I think, but I know that that's the agile space. It's just more fluid. It's just
Okay.
more going from like space to space to space in a cyclical way versus this linear space of trying to
Okay.
create a project.
And it
That's the
sounds like
quickest way I can define it.
right. And it sounds like it's also more collaborative too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
how do you then work with someone who I work remotely and I'm in sales, I work remotely. So, yes, I talk to people all day because I'm in
Mhm.
sales, but I
Mhm.
work remotely, but I do,
Mhm.
reach out to my team, I guess, the designers or the marketing team or what have you, on a day-to-day basis. But how do I make this so I don't feel like I'm in this silo?
Yeah. I think it's so interesting that you present that question, because in 2020 we were challenged with you can't go into the office, you got to figure out how to do this.
Yeah.
And so what I find is that that whole idea of co-location had to change. And
Okay.
so co-location means like we're kind of co-located right now because Zoom connects us. And I
Yeah.
think that was the big thing that we had to realize, that while agility, I still think it works really well when you're in a space, in a room together with one
Yeah.
another, but
Yeah.
that is not always possible.
Right.
So it's the idea of, co-location. Sometimes it's by location,
Yeah.
meaning, so for example, if everyone is on the East Coast, right?
Yeah.
So then maybe you say, okay, even though I'm in sales and you're marketing and
Mhm.
design,
Mhm.
maybe every quarter
Mhm.
we come together for a 2-week basis in person and have
That's
like a workshop and like,
okay. Yeah.
write out goals together and like kind of figure out what we want to do for the upcoming quarter, right? Create like, goals and document in person for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
maybe every quarter.
Okay.
So you
Okay.
have to kind of start to get a little more,
Think outside.
uh, yes, you have to think outside the box
Yeah.
when you're thinking about, you're not exactly co-located, but
Right.
it's not that work cannot be done in an agile space.
Right.
The most important thing to me, which is why I love agility,
Mhm.
is because you have to, I think at the very basis, you're trying to solve the problem.
Right. Okay.
You're trying to solve the problem, and you're trying to make sure that it works for the team, the group, the people that you're working with.
Okay.
So there are a lot of like frameworks that come out of Agile,
Okay.
but they are guidelines in
Okay.
essence, because we're always looking to continuously improve, continuously learn, and continuously develop. And so um, now in my maturity state of Agile, I see a lot of newbies or new people coming in and they're like, this is how you do it. This is how you do it.
Okay.
And that's kind of true. There's
Yeah.
these guideposts, but once you start to learn and grow and, be more experienced, and you learn and you are dealing with the nuances of a team, you
Mhm.
tend to say, these are guideposts, but this is how the team operates best. or
Right.
this is how the person operates best,
You
you
have to
know?
be able to pivot, it sounds like.
Absolutely. That's
You can't
another
just
keyword
kind
that I
of,
hear a lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can't like stay so, locked into this is the right way, this is the only way, which is a Virgo thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and say,
Really?
we
Well, look,
want to
think of
do,
it this way.
yeah, we want to do it our way, I will say that I have started to incorporate more room to look at it from a different
Oh,
standpoint
good. That's
and
good.
use that, yeah, and use that word, in its full definition, pivot,
Hmm.
in a way that will, feed the situation, instead of,
Hmm.
getting in it and then you're like, oh, I'm boxed in, I can't move because you're like, oh, it
Right.
only can be done this one way,
Right.
which
Hmm.
does box you in when you don't look
Hmm.
at the fact that you can, look at things from several different viewpoints, uh,
Hmm.
and do them in several different, get to the main thing, you know,
Yeah.
through several different ways.
You just
Uh,
spoke of you just spoke of my most difficult person to deal with.
oh, really?
Yeah, because when you're so zeroed in on your way and you're so focused, you tend to not see the good things that other people are contributing,
Right.
right? And so I will tell you in my experience, I think like a lot of people they'll come in and be like, no, like they'll say, no, you can't think one-sided. You have to think this way, this way, this way. But I'm reflecting you at that point.
Yeah.
I'm reflecting you. Like, like so going into that to that difficult person,
Right.
I always allow them to do their way.
Yeah.
Because for me, that's a win-win. Let me tell you why it's a
Okay.
win-win. It's a win-win because if I allow you to stay zeroed in, siloed in, and you do it your way and you fail,
Yeah.
right? Then
Yeah.
that's out the way. Now you're
Yeah.
going to listen to me and how we can succeed, right?
Yeah.
But if let's say it's a win-win, I mean, let's say we do it your way and we win.
Hmm.
Okay, then that was the best way to go. We
Yeah.
win. So it's
Yeah.
a win-win for me, right? Like, like to
Right.
allow you to go
Right.
through your process. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And it's also, I would add to that is once you, kind of get out of your own way and allow the process to unfold in whatever direction it needs to go in for you to get to the result that you want or need.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is I would add that you have to also be a little bit more vulnerable and
Yes.
um yes, understanding that, word can be a complete sentence and you can employ that, but
Mm-hmm.
also, you know, knowing when to invite in that one thing or that person to inject what they might be able to add,
Yeah.
to
Mm-hmm.
the piece of project or what have you. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and like I said, just my Virgo nature is, oh, I know, I got this, but I have found of late when I, kind of shut that down, and tell her to just sit tight for a moment and just maybe even shut up, and listen to, what the other person or the other, way of doing things, pivoting, if you
Yeah. Yeah.
um, will allow you to do. And I would say a lot of that has was born out of, a few of the sessions from Exodus Summit.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
and, chief among them, I think that, the theme or what has been the theme of this year, 2023, is rest and ease.
Yes.
And understanding that, yeah, you got to work, you got to, pay the bills or what have you, but you don't have to do it where you are killing yourself. You don't have to
Absolutely.
do it where you are, not letting people come in and be helpmates or accountability partners,
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I
and
agree.
get the support that you need from wherever it needs to come from. And the pivoting part of it is sometimes it may come from these untraditional, sources that you didn't
Mm-hmm.
even think to, I mean, my sister's-in-law, I'm in, marketing. Sometimes it don't even occur to me to talk to her about, some of my projects. But when I was during COVID, I was, in Atlanta staying with my sister, and we were basically working across the table from each other. And we would be, in our
bouncing up. Yeah.
And turns out that she could contribute, and as could I contribute to, some of the, spots that she ran into that might have been like, difficult. The thing is, it's human.
Yes.
Human.
Yes.
It's the human,
Yes. Exactly. I think it's so interesting that you say that too, because like even working in like a lot of these spaces, I was working with like full stack technical teams.
Yeah.
I don't know how to code. Don't ask me.
Right.
Oh, nothing. I mean, like I know HTML, like like easy stuff, but like to do Java and all the other extents. No, I don't. But I know that I remember one time talking to one of my technical leads, and he was like, "I always love when you attend our technical meetings," and I was like, "For real? Like, why?" He was like, "Because you serve as the end user."
Right.
And sometimes the technical people are so into their lane, like how you may be into your marketing lane, your sister's into her law lane. Like these, these technicians, they're in there, like they're just, okay, the code works, this works, whatever. But then here comes me, like, well, I just want to be able to like, click on this button and find blue images. And they'll go, oh my God, like they would realize the code does all these great things, but it's not solving what the end user wanted to. And so I sat in that space a lot. And so when you were talking about collaborating with your sister and understanding that her experiences, right, can benefit you, that is definitely like, I think that's the basis or the core of what agility is and what collaboration is made for. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Bring different ideas to the table.
You mentioned in your explanation of what it is in the corporate world of, kind of separating or bringing together the entire team, and not just having all your designers over here and all your, marketers over here, bringing them together, and seeing how, just like what you explained, how can we feed off each other and benefit and collaborate together? Because I am looking at it straight from a design standpoint if I'm a designer, and I'm not looking at, maybe the technical point of it, and the thing is, it's not a fault. It's just we're taught to kind of stay in our lanes. Oh, yes. Let you kind of jump out and be like, oh, that's great. Because like you said, I mean, I was telling somebody just the other day, I'm technical, but I'm not technical. Like I can do the things to get me to, like I can get us on this call. Get us on here nicely, right? But anything in the background of it, that's somebody else's lane. And I'm not gonna try to take that on. So as, a Black woman, and I'm sure that you're running into this, seeing that you're focused on Black girls.
Yes.
It's hard for us to say, oh, that's not mine. That's not mine. That's not mine. This is mine. And so this is what I'm going to focus on and give you my expertise in. And I'm saying this is mine, but I'm not saying that I am the everything in this. Right. So there's going to be some questions that's going to come up, about marketing. Let's say we're talking about me, about marketing that I don't know the answer to. I haven't actually experienced that, or I haven't actually worked in that, or I really just don't know. I don't know. And being okay with saying, I don't know.
I don't know. Let me tell you, I felt freed when I learned the benefits of I don't know and no.
I know. And no is a complete sentence.
Yes.
No is a complete sentence.
No.
Yeah.
And no. And but the other thing that I also learned too is in those two spaces with I don't know and no, I also learned that I had to make sure that I was able to explain the why of that.
Right.
So like I just can't say no and just leave it there. Like, no, and give cause or reason to why it's a no, right? And then have a discussion on that. when you were talking, I was thinking about the word delegation. We have such a hard time delegating. I just got off the phone with a client who had like 12 things up in the air. Why do you have 12 things up in the air?
Yeah.
Why do you have 12?
And enjoying the fact that and bragging about the fact that I have 12 things up in the air.
Things.
But because you have 12 things in the air.
Up in the air. And to be very honest, I always work in threes. Yeah. Like I just try, for me, I don't know why it's threes. It could have been twos. I don't know, but I like threes. Okay. And for me, anything beyond that third thing, I know I'm not giving my best attention to. I know I'm not focusing on it as much as maybe 1, 2, or 3. Right. And so we had this discussion, me and my client, we had a discussion about, okay, let's get to 3. Yeah. And all these other things, let's just hold off. They're there, and they will get done. But let's not try to do all of these things at once.
Because you're not going to give them 100%.
No.
And then
delegate what you can.
You're going to beat yourself up.
Absolutely.
And I mean, that was wonderful advice. And it's one of those things that you almost have to, kind of take stock of and inventory of on a day-to-day basis.
On a daily basis. Yes, on absolutely.
A day-to-day basis.
Yes.
Because we do, have this, particularly Black, women, I'm going to say Black women, because we're Black women, but particularly women, period, because we do feel like, one, I have to do this. I have to, I'm the, caregiver for my kids.
Or no one can do it as good as me.
Yeah. I'm the oldest daughter. You know what I mean? So you're adding on it, and we haven't even talked about work yet. I haven't even, you know what I mean? I haven't even talked about work. I'm just telling you about, just my lifing, right?
And it's something that I always like. I have a cousin who is very much I have to do it all. I have to do it all because I don't she doesn't fully trust anyone else to do what she needs to do. And we had to work with this space. It is so funny because I find myself coaching in spaces where I'm not the coach, but I'm like, I'm her cousin, but she's talking and here goes my coaching hat and I'm starting to like coach.
Right.
So with me and her, like I find myself having discussions about, does it need to get done or does it need to be perfect? Right. Because those are two different things.
Yeah.
Now you can find somebody to get this stuff done, get it done quickly.
Yeah.
But if you are on the perfection, things will never get done. No. Things will never be, and it will never be perfect. So she always has to ask a question. Do I need it to be perfect? Or do I just need to get this stuff done? Then I can call this person, or I can ask this person. The problem that she still has, now she's checking over people's stuff. But I'd rather her be in the edit versus the having to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you're at ground zero,
it gives you back life.
It gives you back your life.
And one of the things that we cannot, is a commodity, is time.
Mm-hmm. It's time.
Mm-hmm. And you saying that was, I know that life. I know her.
Perfection,
Because Virgo girl also is a perfectionist.
Perfectionist.
And so when I can't do it all, and if I can't do it right, then I don't do anything.
I'm that way too.
Outside of that, I am, and this is when my therapist is like, what I need you to do is one, let's put away that to-do list for a second. Let's do that. Because like you said, there's only so many hours in a day, and you can only give 100% to maybe one or two of those things, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I find that.
Yeah.
Now I find that because I'm in the goal setting business. So like when you go to my Instagram, you see I just finished the 30-day challenge, and I'm really but I'm really on goal setting. But here's the thing that I always want people to remember. Don't get stuck on like completing the goal so hard that you just like it becomes not fun to do. It becomes a whole task in itself. Like, those things are guidelines. And I think when I'm looking at the industry currently, like the goal setting industry, it's so like, build a SMART goal and it has to be this.
Yeah.
when you start to get so tight and constricted on the rules, then
Yeah.
it doesn't really serve you anymore. It doesn't serve the purpose for you. You're just focusing on, am I in this like box? Am I in this space?
Yeah.
And goal setting is not for that. It is really a guideline. It is really this like, it's something that you can focus on in the future
Yeah.
to start to do the things you need to do
To
to
reach.
move. Yeah,
Yeah.
to reach it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think people get so stuck on that. And I'm
Do.
like,
They do. I
yeah.
do. I'm not gonna even say they. I'm gonna talk about me. Yeah, I do. I do that.
Mhm.
That's a thing I do. And it is have been of late just kind of really examining the process of, yeah, I
Mhm.
set these goals. I'm good about that. Good, good, good. And I'm
Mhm.
also good about, Tonya, I can help you with your goals. Like you've said,
Good.
you have
Mhm.
5 or 6 goals that you're trying to, girl, I'm helping you. I'm supporting you. I'm your accountability partner. I'm over
Accountability.
you,
Yeah.
right? I'm giving you all the girlfriend support you need.
Mhm.
Then when it, comes to me, it's like so at the top of this year, I, started working with this organization called Momentum Education. And
Mhm.
one of the one of the gems that came out of that experience was understanding that you need support and you don't have to
Mhm.
do it alone.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I've been under the notion of, oh, I got to do all of this by myself.
Mm.
I gotta have, if I have these 3 goals, I gotta make sure that I reach all of these 3 goals by my lonesome, right?
Mm.
Which is a lot.
It's a
Again,
lot.
because you're lifing in doing these things, right?
Mhm.
And so,
Mhm.
keeping the lights on don't, go away because you got this goal of starting a business, right?
Mhm.
So you still
Mhm.
have to,
Mhm. Mhm.
do what you have to do to continue with that, right? So
Yeah.
and also with being in the community of the Exodus Summit, gaining accountability partners
I
there.
love, yes. Mhm.
Again, it was something that that muscle was flabby. It was like non-existent. And
But yours
I
was
have,
so much better than mine, and I'm so appreciative like that. Like I ran, like that. I'm with you all, like kind of running in your circle now
yeah,
because I sat on the sidelines for so long on Exodus Summit, and I think it was I definitely attended last year's summit,
mhm,
um a conference, and I think that's when it started to turn on me like, oh my gosh, there's so many people
yeah,
in the same space or similar space that I'm in or where I want to be. And I don't have to do it alone. I
right,
don't have to sit like, and try to figure things out myself. I mean, Rashida and Stephanie has so many videos, so many
yeah,
like this Facebook,
yeah,
YouTube, like, they are all
yeah,
Instagram, they are like
right,
all
yeah,
over,
yeah,
just constantly reminding us of that. And I think that was like this year, I felt like I awakened in that space. Like, Antonia, you don't have to do this by
don't have
yourself.
to do it by
There's a
yourself.
community here for
There's a
you.
whole community
Yes.
who is here to support you, to give you advice, to just, girl, I just need to cry right now. And I kind of need to do it with a friend. You know what
With
I
a
mean?
friend. Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
just having that sometimes, it gives me energy. It gives me, it feeds my soul to know that,
yeah.
I have with 2 of my accountability partners, we have a weekly meeting on Wednesday.
That's
And
nice. Yeah.
we tap in. We have these goals that we've set collectively and individually.
Mm-hmm.
And for the most part, I will say that all of our goals are individualized. Um, however, they become collectively because we all want to travel. We all want to
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
all want to, do something, differently with our job if we have one and that kind of thing, right? And so how do we then pour into each other, in a
Right.
way that is supportive and it lends, kind of this thing that, again, I was trying to do it all by my lonesome.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started collaborating with these ladies on a regular basis, and again, I met them through the Exodus Summit, and it really, it's a game changer. It's a game
Yeah, it's a game changer. It really is.
changer.
I love it. And I'm just starting anew, like,
Yeah,
with you
yeah,
all. But I just been having a really good time just meeting new people and like understanding that the same questions or reservations that I may have, someone else shares that too,
yeah.
or someone else has lived through it already to tell
Right.
me.
To say,
Well,
hey, go left, girl, go left.
yeah.
Right. Don't go right on that one.
Yes, love that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the other part of this community and how
Mhm.
it does lend support. And all it is showing you that you had this.
Yeah.
Just didn't tap into it because we've been
Yes.
taught to, no, you got to do it by yourself. No, you got to,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Stephanie and Rashida do a great job in saying that go get your community, go get your accountability partners.
They don't step in
You
the
know,
way. They know how to delegate.
they know how to, and they show you by example. Hey, this is,
Yes.
I mean, so they're classic for saying, go find your Rashida, go find your Stephanie,
Yes.
go do that, and
Mm-hmm.
return back to us and tell us how it goes or whatever.
Right.
Don't do that, right? And in doing that, in being in community and reaching out to women who are trying to do the same thing, and they're not doing the same thing in a way that you feel there's judgment there's competition
Yeah.
there, because there's room for us all to accomplish this.
The accomplish. Yeah.
you know
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
there's room,
The
like,
other thing that I love about being part of Exodus Summit, the things that we talk about and the topics that we discuss, some of these goals or some of these things that people are doing were so huge to me before that like I
for
would say,
example
give
for
you an
example
example.
yeah.
The idea of taking off 6 months and
uh
just going
Taking
like
a
doing a
sabbatical.
sabbatical
Okay.
and then coming back and
Yeah.
like or like and demanding that time, not necessarily saying asking your company for it or asking or living a life, right? Like or creating a life that will allow you to say, I'm gonna step away for 3 months and my world is not gonna fall apart.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I'm
Yeah.
going to leave the US or even take the sabbatical in the U, like,
Right.
whatever choices
Yeah,
you have. But
whatever.
like
Yeah.
those things for years, I had never thought I could do that. I was so tied to the job. I was so
Yeah.
tied to my work environment. I was so tied to what my family think. Like
Right.
I remember my first travel out of the States and my aunt gave me this big like conversation, like,
Yeah.
don't let anything happen over there because I don't know who's gonna come and get you.
Right.
Like, it's
Right. And it's that fear. It's that fear. Let me
yeah, it's the
invoke
fear.
this fear that I have on you.
Yes,
And
exactly.
because
Yeah.
I haven't, experienced this. What was it? It was Cassandra Freeman, who she was one of the speakers at the summit this year, who spoke about she's in Mexico with her two
Mm. With
children.
the kid, yes,
And
yes.
yeah, and when she, decided, I think somebody asked, how did your family react to your doing this, family and friends or whatever? And I think her response was like, she did get some pushback from folks like, how dare you, basically. And it was their fears. And her
Mm-hmm.
response was, you've never done this. Why would I come
Why, yeah.
and let
Yeah.
you influence this decision that is going to be tremendous for my family,
Mm-hmm.
and because
Mm-hmm.
you're afraid to do it, you want me to be afraid to do it, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so that's, I mean,
It was
I
like, wow.
have jumped off on faith on several. I mean, moving to
Oh,
New York from Atlanta was, I moved up here without, a place to stay and a job.
mm.
Like, I'm doing it.
Yeah, New York too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother, yeah. I mean, we can get into the story, but yeah. But at the time, it was like, if I I can just go home. If it doesn't work,
Yes.
go
If it
home.
doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know the way home, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
I'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I went to Mexico and I tried skydiving because I wanted to. And
Girl,
why not? Why
now
not?
that's a braveness that I don't have yet.
So everyone was like, why? Oh my God. What, how would you now what because what you're doing is talking
'Cause
yourself out of it.
right. I
I
don't
already
like
done it, so
I'm
there's
not
no
gonna do
need
that
for
to
you.
you.
Yeah, don't try to talk to me. I already done it. I did it. I just
I'm
did
not
it.
gonna do that to you, but
Yeah,
I don't know if I can talk myself into it yet.
and that's okay too. That's okay
Yeah.
because that was mine, right? And that's the
Right.
thing. Own your stuff. You know,
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
start owning my stuff. This is what I'm gonna do. I
Right.
go and do
Got
this.
that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I mean, we do run into, the reasons why not to do things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that continues to come up for me when I run into those situations, I do feel like the older I get, the less daring I am.
Yeah, I find that too for me
But,
too. I don't know,
but
or more like it's interesting because it's the less daring in adventurous things, but I'm more risky
uh-huh,
in things that are like it's not like I'm more risky in like how do I say this? Like jump starting my own business, right?
uh-huh.
Like doing things like that. But I am less risky in, running a marathon or like jumping out of like jumping bungee jumping
I
or
think,
something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
think
And so
that,
it's interesting. I
yeah,
think
I
for me, I
mean,
feel like
it's funny because, yeah, so I find that I am more cautious when it comes to, like, I stayed at a toxic job, way longer than I should have, with this notion of I can't leave before having something in the hopper, right? And confidence, knowing, because I know I can do it. I know I can do it. But I was just kind of blocked by this fear that I wouldn't be able to, right?
yeah.
And I think I finally, even my therapist was like, please leave the job, please do it, right? And it was because, I was giving her coming in
Had
there,
stress levels,
my
yeah,
stress
yeah,
level was over the top.
yeah.
My health was out of insane. Um, and so when I finally did take the leap and trust in myself, that the landing would be soft no matter what, if I trust in myself, right? And a lot of that was born out of some of those principles and things that have been born out of Exodus Summit and
Nice.
momentum education and putting all of that in the soup pot, and girl, it's delicious. It's delicious.
Amen. Tell that. All right.
Yeah, it's delicious.